A pleasure to meet all at last. Welcome back to HGN Season 4. I once again have something worth talking about in the series, and number 2428 is what's up next. Collisions are going to be today's subject. Collisions are in fact the process of force involving two different objects making physical contact with each other, typically at a point where it involves a level of destruction, whether it's from simple damages to extreme annihilation. Collisions can typically involve various forms of machinery or other such objects, typically moving at a relative speed to the point where they eventually hit each other on the mark. And this, of course, has typically been played upon in various different scenarios, mainly real-life ones. For example, on the railroad, we can expect trains to in fact hit each other. That's what's commonly known as a train collision. There, of course, are more common things that go out there on the road, for example, where there are in fact collisions involving vehicles. Typically, if it's a simple bump from the rear, or if it's a pileup, which involves more than two vehicles, typically speaking. There are certainly a number of different ways to greatly put collisions into context. Of course, we know that transportations aren't the only things that collisions can typically apply to. For example, a falling elevator that loses its brakes and ends up smashing down all the way to the ground level of a certain floor of a certain high-rise building. And then, of course, there's always the time where a collision could be made with an object that falls from the sky and then lands right on the concrete down below, or typically lands in the water. Collisions, of course, are in fact the exchange of force that simply goes from one object to something that's stationary or otherwise moving. And they can happen all the time. Just like my two hands right there. So, being that these are extremely common to this very day, this kind of process is something we can't ultimately have full control over. Sure, there are ways to lessen the severity of it, and even ways to help prevent it from becoming a disaster, but collisions, of course, are just the natural forces of which two objects exchange their energies to each other from when we walk on the ground or when we simply go to grab our phones. These are typically more softer levels of contact, and therefore they're not exactly seen as collision related, but they're just simply known for the exchange of energy basis between two objects. Just like that. So I feel like that was pretty well said, even by my standards. So I will see you guys later with more of this content. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow me wherever you can find me, and stay on the Hollywood side.